big mega reboot of his government by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. 78 ministers now in the Council of Ministers, which is, some may call it a jumbo cabinet, but I think a new formula here has been drawn up that we need to have maximum government, maximum governance, as well as maximum representation. All hands are now on deck to handle the twin challenges which are posed by the COVID pandemic as well as the economy. Another clear message is rewarding the performers and rewarding them big by elevating them to full cabinet rank, and also sending a message down the ranks that non-performance will not be tolerated even if you are a heavyweight name, and don't land in any controversies. Also, the aspirations of party workers and the political realities of the alliances seems to have weighed in on the government finally, with the serious senior ministers ministries being given to those who come from the states, like the Janata Dal United finally becoming a member of the Council of Ministers, with Mr. R.C.P. Singh, who's seen as the right-hand man of Nitish Kumar, coming and joining the ministry finally. So this also strengthens the alliance with JDU of the BJP in Bihar, and settles this little kind of uncertainty which was posed by some in the opposition that the government may fall and the two allies may part ways. So that has been settled, and a lot of representation to Uttar Pradesh. 7 ministers from Uttar Pradesh now in the Council of Ministers. So going ahead with the big election coming up in Uttar Pradesh in 2022, a good message being sent to the state, and representation from across castes, and a key ally in Anupriya Patel of the Apna Dal being made a MOS. So also sealing this alliance with the Apna Dal in UP. The biggest surprise, however, seems the dropping of at least 3 big ministers. Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, Mr. Prakash Javdekar, and Mr. Harworkes. Now, why this has happened is up to speculation, but clearly what the government says that it's this cabinet expansion, or a reboot as we call it, is a completely performance-based exercise. And performance of each minister has been very minutely assessed, along with the fact that does the minister land himself in needless controversies? Should that be avoided? And if you see in the case of Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, Mr. Prakash Javdekar, or Mr. Harworkes, they have been under a scanner on various counts. Obviously, the COVID pandemic has had an impact which has affected the way the health ministry was being done. There's been a lot of criticism at the international level as well. Also in the IT ministry, a lot of international focus on the way Twitter is being handled. Was being handled in the ministry of Ravi Shankar Prasad, and Mr. Prakash Javdekar, generally how the media was being managed, how the media was being handled, with a lot of criticism coming in of the government from foreign publications, even domestic publications, on the outreach of the government was not having the desired impact. So also senior leaders now needed in the party, with people like heavyweight party leaders like Bhupendra Yadav moving to the government as the environment minister and labor minister. So it is expected that Bhupendra Yadav's place would be taken up by somebody like Prakash Javdekar, who's turned 70, and in this cabinet there is nobody above 70 right now except the Prime Minister. So that is also looking like an unofficial age barrier for the Council of Ministers, that ministers younger than 70, because this is also perhaps the youngest Council of Ministers, with the average age of ministers being brought down to 58. Also, I think the point that the way the performers have been rewarded in a big way. So Mr. Kiren Rijiju, like getting elevated from an MOS sports directly as the law minister of the country. Mr. Mansukh Mandaviya, who was handling chemicals and fertilizers and MOS, becomes not just the chemicals and fertilizers minister but also the health minister of the country, because both these ministries in a way are linked, the medicine supply as well as the COVID management. So him getting both ministries is a big elevation. Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia becoming the civil aviation minister, the way he helped the BJP to bring down the Madhya Pradesh government of the Congress, him finally being rewarded after 15 months. So going ahead, this seems the motto of the government, that they want younger ministers handling bigger responsibilities, bigger ministries, to also effect a generational change in the government. Not just a generational change in the party, where a generational change in the government is also being attempted, that we have younger ministers who are performing ministers, who have the zeal to perform, get bigger jobs, and bigger responsibility, so that they can perform on a wider scale and maybe show up in a better way on what they can achieve if given such bigger responsibilities, which will be very interesting to see in the days to come on how these ministers now perform in their respective roles.